Saram, I behold the Christ in you. I am Rev Ana Quintana from the Unity Church of the Triangle in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I am more than honored to be here with you. I'm not seeing you right now, but I know I have felt the love of this community, and I know that in that love we're coming together today to celebrate Easter. May we be guided in this process. May we all experience the love that we so treasure as expressed by Sai Baba and Jesus. And may we become one with the one through this experience. Again, thank you for inviting me. All is well. Before actually starting my talk today, I would like for you to come to the space with all of us and to dedicate this time together to all the patients, family members, healthcare professionals that are dealing with this coronavirus. We hold complete eradication of this virus. We hold only perfect healing for all on this planet at this time. We hold the complete well-being for Mother Earth. We remember that God is greater than any human challenge. And we know that as we realize our divinity, we continue to be a driving force of good and hope on this world. And on this dedication, I will then start my talk. Thank you so much for opening your heart and being fully present to this moment. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. With hearts fully open, I'm asking you to listen to this scripture from the Gospels of Matthew and John. Start off by Matthew 20, 18, 19. We're going up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be delivered over to the chief priests and teachers of the law. They will condemn him to death and will hand him over to the Gentiles to be mocked and flogged and crucified. On the third day, he will rise to life. And then from Matthew 28, 5 to 6, the angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus, who was crucified. He's not here. He has risen, just as he said. Come and see the place where he lay." And the last one from John 11, 25, 26, Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live even though they die, and whoever lives by believing in me will never die." Do you believe this? I would like to start today's lesson by asking you, how is this story related to you today and to what the world is going through? You might not have been brought up like me on a Christian, in the Christian religion, but you might still know the story. And I'm asking you, and I've been asking myself, what am I ready to understand from this story that I have not understood before? And to me, the meaning of anything, especially a significant story like the story of Jesus' resurrection, that meaning shifts according to our level of consciousness. And what I can see today, I was not able to see when I was in elementary school or even 10 years ago. It takes new meaning as my spiritual understanding expands. Another question that I have for you is, how can this story build on the Baba teachings that he so gratefully offered the world as he was on this earth? And if we go even deeper, how can this story support you and support me in loving all and serving all. We know that Jesus was here on earth over 2,000 years ago, and we know that he healed the sick, he resurrected the dead, he multiplied the fish and the loaves, he spoke about a kingdom that is within us. He exemplified what love and miracles is all really about. Still, he was not fully recognized as special or divine. And the people, the authorities at the time, thought that the best way to deal with this person, we could even say this rebel, was to murder him or crucify him. But we know that his story does not end with death. It really ends, or destruction, it really ends with life and resurrection. But again, how does that story relate to me and to you today? And I would love for you to take a moment in which you may, if you feel like closing your eyes or just staying present and listening to your heart. What can this story teach me today? With whatever I'm going through internally or externally, with what I am observing around me, how is this relevant? And we know that practically the earth, the planet, has shut down. It's more than half of our 7 billion people on earth are on lockdown or socially distancing or limiting travel or limiting meeting and interactions. We need to acknowledge that economies are chaotic right now. And it's hard not to ask ourselves, how can that impact, or how is that affecting me emotionally and even financially? And I must say, and you probably feel the same way, that the way we have known this world is really crumbling down in front of our eyes. To the point where if we don't have a sound, strong spiritual foundation, it's really difficult not to go into fear and anxiety. Fear and anxiety regarding our health, regarding our economic well-being, our emotional well-being. It might be too much if we really don't have that foundation. I heard recently somebody saying on TV that it is in crisis that the true nature of our character is really revealed. And it is, I would add up to say even more, that in times of crisis is where we really see our true beliefs. Where are we placing our faith? What is really giving us a sense of safety and security? And needless to say, this is a really high teachable moment that if we choose to, can really turn our lives around for good. And one of the questions that I have for you, my friends, and I'm thinking right now in some of you and your faces and your love and your connection, is that are we still coming from the paradigm of dualism in which we are giving power to something else other than God and the one presence? In unity, we talk about one presence, one power. It's actually our first principle that says there's only one presence and one power active in the universe and in our lives, God the good, omnipotent, and that you and I are one with that presence and that power. So from that perspective, giving power to something else does not make sense. It does not make sense to give power to a virus only if we feel that something out there has more power than God. So when we don't fully trust that presence and that power, then we really fear how we could get infected. And even if we get infected, how it is only through medical means that I can really heal. Or if we are into that dualistic mentality, we feel that our economic security comes from how well the economy is doing. So if the economy is not doing well, then I'm not going to be doing well. Or even how we give power to a certain, to know that a certain way of living and a lifestyle is what really gives me my sense of well-being. Like if I have this certain routine and I have this certain people around me, and if I have the security that my life will be as predictable as I expect it to be, then I can be at peace. But right now, everything is shifting. And we know that if we find our sense of safety out there, we will not really feel safe and well. It's almost like Deepak Chopra would say, our sense of well-being or happiness, it's really mostly object-referred and not self-referred. So this is a really precious time to observe and realize, where are we really standing? I've seen people in my community that are really like freaking out. And I have others that might say, well, I can sense the fear energy around me, but I don't go into that fear because I know better. I know that that power and that presence is larger and more powerful than, sorry for the redundance, than any worldly challenge. It's almost like I was thinking, my son years ago had some issues with sensory areas of his life, very similar to autistic children. And I learned from children with autism that their routines and the fact that they know ahead of time what they're going to be doing keeps them calm. And I was asking myself, how much of that do we have, that we find comfort in our own routines, in our own known territories? But guess what? That carpet on which we were standing has essentially been removed and taken away. The world is changing and will continue to. There will be, I believe, and I'm sure you believe with me, that there will be a before and after, that we will always refer to this period of time in our lifetimes, and that it's literally a death. And I could go on as to understand what is it that is dying, but I really want to concentrate more as to what it's really being destructed or dissolved or disintegrated in me. And maybe it might be that personal model of finding comfort in my distractions, in my routine, and really not paying attention to my inner world, to that higher dimension that I'm really, really are. I heard recently someone say that it's like the universe is saying either if you stay disconnected, you will perish. It is time to be connected and survive. And I really feel that that's what we are being called as a humanity, to really connect deeper internally, so that then as we go virtually, we can expand our connection horizontally. And we have no other choice because we are home. We're meant to be home. We're meant to be in our inner home and explore areas of our inner world that we might have rejected or not even been interested in exploring. So coming back to the Jesus story, I believe that this is where the story of Jesus and this whole experience connect. There is a beautiful quote by one of my favorite spiritual teachers that says, Marianne Williamson, both the crucifixion and resurrection are extraordinary powers at work in our lives, just as they were in the lives of Jesus. They are psychic realities, the understanding of which adds depth to the understanding of our own lives. With this understanding, we gain the ability to move wisely and navigate our experience of the world. To not feel our suffering is to deny the crucifixion, but to not let go of this suffering is to deny the resurrection. Though we might have fallen, we will yet rise. So it's almost a collective crucifixion. It's a death. It's a letting go. It's a period of darkness in which we might not find our regular points of references. But guess what? As we are able to let go, as we are able to explore the darkness, we are giving rise to the new. We are giving rise to a new level of light within us that we are more than ready to experience. It's like everything's coming out to the surface for us to see and say, no, I don't need this anymore. This is not working for my greater benefit. I choose to enhance these other areas of my life and spiritual understanding. Is what the Indian author, Tagore poet, I love when he said, to find God, you must welcome everything. So let's be non-resistant to everything the way it is and be open by that willingness to let everything be the way it is. It's like Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, comes to mind. He even talks about that process of finally giving up the whole personality, the egoic structure, the immature areas of your life or your understanding to give rise to the Christ mind, to our higher self, to the divine nature. And that to co-founder of Unity, that to him is really the crucifixion, the giving up of the personality so that the Christ presence can be expressed in its fullness. And I was thinking to relate it to your own practice and your own philosophy. I understand that the Javatri mantra, the last part of the mantra, translated says, may Almighty God lead us to liberation. It's something that we are all aspiring to finally be liberated, to finally be free, to express and be the true divine expression that we really are. It's like, how can we plant new flowers in a garden that is completely filled out with our weeds? We need to get rid of the weeds, weed that out first. That has to die in order for the new garden to express itself. So really don't fool yourself. This is not about what's out there. It's really what is happening in me. And it's always about each one of us and the evolution of our souls. And then knowing you and having been exposed to to your ways and to your love and your devotion and your commitment to make a difference in the world and to serve others. What can, from where we're standing in consciousness, how can we be like a collaborative force and support the best outcome from this pandemic or this situation? I know that if you're part of this group, your spiritual unfoldment and your spiritual life is your priority. That walking this path with like-minded people is what really gives you meaning and purpose. So then it means, this is my own understanding, that for all of us who are more aware and more committed, our spiritual involvement is so critical at this time. And this is where I bring Jesus back. We can use Jesus' example to help us navigate this experience and co-create a resurrection for humankind. I know it sounds big, but this is what we're called to do. We're called to, at this moment, increase our spiritual practice. We're called at this moment to strengthen our faith in that one presence and that one power, and to amplify our awareness of truth. One of my favorite scripture comes from John 12:32 from Jesus. He says, "As I am lifted up from the earth, all men will be drawn unto myself." So as you and I are lifted in the truth that we know, in the principles that we practice, we are lifting everyone else, but probably just staying centered, loving, and faithful, which is what Jesus did while going through this Calvary crucifixion process. If you think about it, he was stable. There was this sense of peace in spite of everything he went through to the last moment of his human life. And ask you, and I ask also myself, how was he able to do that? And we go back to the idea of the Lent season, 40 days of prayer and fasting and meditation. It is the spiritual practice that kept him together internally to stay in peace and strength. As you all know, and I was navigating your website, I know you have a message from Baba for each day of the month of April. And today's April 12th. It's precisely the point of what I'm trying to make across. And believe me, that as I was preparing for this talk, I asked that Baba might speak through me and might inspire me as to what to share. So I trust that this is so. Well, on your website, on this day, this is from Baba, though it is hard to restrain the mind, it can be diverted. When the mind steeped in the secular world is diverted toward divinity, it gains in moral strength. The mind steeped in the worldly matters makes you a prisoner of the world, whereas a mind steeped in God secures liberation for you. Your heart is the lock, and your mind is the key. When you turn the key to the left, it locks. But when you turn the key to the right, it unlocks. It is the turning of the key that makes the difference. Hence, the mind is the cause for your liberation as well as your bondage. Majesty and morality lie in diverting the mind from the world to God. It is this simple and powerful concept that really contributes to your progress and your prosperity, and I'm going to add, and to your resurrection. Think about it. Jesus was completely in control internally, his heart never closed. He didn't try to fight back or defend himself. He just stayed present. And the reason why he was able to is because of the practice. So we can do the same at this time. Prayer can make all the difference. Prayers can help you stay healthy, centered, and more important, non-resistance. And I have another quote from Baba on prayer from day 7. With prayer to God, you can achieve anything in life. Happiness lies in union with God. Hence, contemplate on God incessantly and never give scope for anxiety or worry. So spiritual practice kept Jesus together and can keep you and I together in this process. Then the second part that I think Jesus can teach us is that he managed to surrender. Jesus did not resist. Jesus allowed for what is to be. Do you know how much energy goes into resisting something? The Buddha says that it is not the changes that cause us suffering, but our resistance to change is what leads to suffering. Another great author that I love, Paul Farina, he says that resistance is suffering and surrender is bliss. And this is the way, really. So Jesus trusted his divine mission. He stayed fully connected to his divinity, seeing the divinity in those around him, even those who were harming him. And it was this precious opportunity for Jesus to show you and show me how deep our capacity for love, for wisdom, for strength and power really is. So the message or what we're being called is to surrender. For Jesus, having a capacity to surrender really allowed him to fulfill his divine mission. He was able to stay present to his own divinity and the divinity of those around him, those who were even harming him. And by doing so, was modeling for all of us our true nature. How loving can we be? How forgiving can we be? How wise can we be in the midst of what might seem a rough moment or a rough process? So let's surrender to everything that is. Let's not waste our energy as to why this happened or how destructive this can be or how or when will it be over. Let's just allow it, and through the spiritual practice, walk this in trust. Baba says on surrender in some of the April days, he says, the path of surrender is like that of a kitten that simply mews in one place, placing all its burdens on the mother cat. Similarly, the devotee places complete trust on God. The mother cat holds the kitten in its mouth and transports it safely through the even very narrow passages. When the devotee places all burdens on the Lord without fear or worry and surrenders fully to his will, he will certainly provide everything. And what are we being provided with? Everything we need, especially the divine qualities that are part of our divine nature, like strength, wisdom, right judgment, even a stronger connection, a sense of purpose that will turn whatever external or internal challenge into a vehicle for our awakening and our transformation, or resurrection. That guidance will tell us it's not really the end, it's really the beginning of something new. We let this experience be the greatest blessing it can be, the highest gift it can give us. If we open, it will be revealed to us. Like I was saying earlier, it's a highly teachable moment, and we can all determine how big this blessing can be. Our souls are always ready for more insights. Our soul always desire evolution. I have a quote that I found on Facebook. I don't really know who said it, but it's just so appropriate for this moment. It says, your soul is requiring you to heal deeper, to elevate past the hurt, to transcend beyond what happened, to let go of what you no longer serves you, to protect your energy daily, to get the lesson, master your thoughts and emotions, to forgive yourself, to love yourself unconditionally, and to honor your body temple, all in order to thrive and vibrate higher daily. It is in times like this that we have the greatest opportunity to awaken to a higher place in consciousness. I love what Eckhart Tolle says, that it is rare for people to awaken in their comfort zone. And it's like Thich Nhat Hanh also says, no mud, no lotus, meaning that the soul blossoms through its difficulties and trials. And so, just like Jesus' crucifixion was followed by a resurrection, if we allow it to, we will also resurrect. I would like to almost culminate today's message by quoting another minister, Unity minister, who sent some reflection called Beyond Fear. I think you will be moved by these words from Ron Lindahl. He says, in these challenging times, it is even more important for us to remain spiritually grounded, with the full awareness that we are divine expressions of the pure essence of ultimate reality. This life in any form is a gift and a grace. Each day we awaken, we breathe, we love our family, our neighbors, and our spiritual friends. Every precious moment is an opportunity to be fully awake, to be self with capital S, realized, to be fearless, and to trust the universe to support and nourish us at all time. We can allow our innate wisdom to prevail, rising above ignorance, ego, aversion, attraction, and fear. We can be fully present and responsive to real needs as they arise. No one can know what will happen in the coming months, but everyone can imagine. To imagine is a great and very powerful gift. Future events and circumstances begin with imaginings today. Our mind is a wave on the ocean of cosmic mind, inseparable. What we believe, the patterns we hold in mind, become blueprints the universe will use to manifest through. We are creating the future now. The question is, do we create from fear, anxiety, worry, or doubt? Do we create a world that is more closed, paranoid, isolated and isolating, separate and separating? Or do we rise to the occasion and envision a future where we have learned some valuable lessons, where we are aware of how interconnected everyone in the world really is, where we create more meaningful ways of remaining connected and caring for one another at every level of the human and planetary existence. In other words, this is the time for a collective awakening to our divine nature And how much you and I can collaborate will depend on how trusting, non-resistant, spiritually strong, and faithful we can be, as Jesus was during his crucifixion. And the more we can commit to that, the more we will be used by Spirit for higher purposes. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but I really feel that I have been prepared for this moment. I had gone through many challenges over the last few years in my life that have placed me in the space in which working on my own healing and transformation is my priority, so I can be and I can serve others in their own healing and transformation. And I would say that all of my prior crucifixion stories have led to exciting new beginnings and possibilities that have been experienced as powerful resurrections. So then I ask you, are you ready to do your part? Inhale and exhale at this moment. Am I ready to do my part? And the answer is, you have been summoned. You have what it takes. Own it and know that you're fully equipped to transcend limitation, death, the immature parts of your personality, and rise above all of that into the unique expression of the divine that has been waiting for this particular moment to shine through finally. Whatever is yours to give, may you give it abundantly and courageously. Whatever is for you to understand, may it be revealed fully. And may you know that you're fully supported and guided in this way, in this process, to your own resurrection and the resurrection of our fellow human beings. May you stay present and willing and know that all is well. Happy Easter. I'm really moved to bring all of these ideas and realization and insights that maybe you have willingly accepted at the mind level, but I would love for you to join me in a guided meditation in which we can all bring all of this awareness to the place of the heart, in the deepest side aspect of yourself, so it can really be planted there. So if you may at this moment close your eyes with me and take a deep, centering, healing breath. And in this beautiful space of silence, we connect heart to heart with the one presence and one power, with the essence of our beloved Swami, the essence of our beloved Jesus the Christ, and all the masters that have walked this earth, those that still keep us company, supporting our path, supporting our process, even holding our hands as we do life. And we just experience together this sense of connection, communion, and unity, in which fear has no meaning, in which we can truly experience that there's only love, there's only peace, there's only abundance, there's only health and light and power. We are divine beings living a human experience to come back home. And everything in our lives is an invitation to come to this inner home of full unity with the divine and as the divine. We connect with all the members of this beautiful group around the world, knowing the amazing contribution that this level of consciousness can bring to those who might be in complete ignorance and fear and desolation. We bring them all to this space, this beautiful space of light, of love, beauty, and goodness, trusting and knowing that this whole pandemic situation is divinely supported, that the cure is on its way, that healing is possible, that we are gifting the earth with some time of quiet, cleanliness, reverence, and that we trust that as a humanity, we are opening the door to a new world, a world of more equality, justice, wealth for all. We ask that we may do what is ours to do to help bring forth this new world. That each one of us has a sacred mission. May we open to it. May we listen. May we allow perfect guidance to support this mission and contribution. It just takes willingness, and we are willing. We are open. We surrender, and we allow. And our hearts open, so much love, so much connection. We experience heaven on earth as we resonate in truth. we visualize all of us holding our hands and saying, yes, we are ready. This is the time, and we are the ones. And as Christ, Jesus the Christ, rose, so we will. We are already rising to our divine, beautiful self. The self that Sai Baba was able to hold and see in all, showing up like never before. We are so grateful for this time, so grateful for this love, and all is well. All will be well. We rest in peace. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen.